Good morning. This is day 129 on my hike from Mexico to Canada on the Pacific Crest Trail. I camped down in there. You can see actually a tarp tent down there. It was hard to find at night because the icon on far out showed it further up here. But I did see the trail leading down and a headlamp last night. So I figured that was it, but I ended up going past it to the icon and then came back around. But it was dark and a little rainy last night, and just I was happy, well, when I was setting up my tent, and then it started raining more. So it rained all night, or at least for a while. I woke up, it was done raining. But so it's kind of just like yesterday again. It's wet and damp everywhere, a little cold. My sleeping bag was more than damp. It was wet by the feet, by the foot box, and the damp everywhere else. The condensation in my tent was terrible again, just totally drenched. So I'm gonna have to try to dry that out today. Hopefully it doesn't rain all day. And I can't tell like why, like I didn't feel too wet inside, like from the rain. Like I don't think it was coming through too much, but maybe like when it's raining, it's hitting the tent and then it's splattering the condensation on me. But like the fact that it was doing it 2 nights ago, like within a half an hour of me getting in my tent, doesn't make much sense to me. But anyways, everything's all wet. I met someone that I camped next to had actually just finished the PCT. He was section hiking, but he finished it, a big section of it this year. So it was cool to chat with him a little bit this morning, since he knows everything that's upcoming for me, having done it. But yeah, it was kind of hard to get out of bed today. Just everything's wet again and cold and damp. And let me just make sure I'm going the right way here. Sometimes people like puts like that just seems like perfectly placed to try to tell someone not to come here. But one sec. So I know I need to cross this river. I'm not sure exactly. Oh, there looks like a log there. The people have crossed over. Okay. But yeah, it's 7 a.m. Later start than I'd like, but honestly, given the circumstances, I think it's pretty good. I'm just so exhausted in general, just from 15 days now of, I think it's 14 or 15 days of just really intense mileage. And okay. So yeah, I mean, it was really tough getting out of bed today. It was wet and cold. My body's just sore. My feet are swollen and achy. But I ran the math last night. I need to do a marathon a day with no breaks to get there by October 1st. And I'm going to give myself a little leeway into October, but like, there's just no time to sit and feel sorry for myself and sore. I got to keep pushing. So here we go, day 129, PCT. It's cool, they look like steps. I think things just take longer when it's wet. Like, cause I was actually woke up at 5:30, and then I sort of laid in bed for maybe another 10 minutes or so. I did not set an alarm. I didn't yesterday either, because I think I'm starting to wake up earlier, more naturally. I'd much prefer to do that without an alarm, even if it means it's more of a window, whether it could be a little earlier, a little later, which is fine. But yeah, I mean, not really getting started till 7. And I didn't even take my morning poop. I just took that now, and I was only 0.2 miles in. So if you just kind of include that in the morning ritual, I'm really not getting started here till 7:10, 7:15. That's a long time from when I first kind of woke up at 5:30. But, I mean, I wiped down my entire tent using my microfiber cloth and my bandana. They're both drenched, and they're drying on the back of my pack. There's the oh yeah, you can see my tent picking out, but there's the microfiber cloth and the purple bandana drying out, in air quotes, like in theory, like it's damp and wet and gloomy and a little cool out here. So I'm not going to do much drying, but I don't want to have that in my pack while it's wet. But they're totally soaked from wiping down the inside of my tent, all the condensation. So that took a little while. I did chat with the guy for like 5 minutes, maybe not even. So like that's not a ton of time. So like, I don't know. I don't really know what took so long, but either way, happy to be moving. A little later start. Today's a full day. So tomorrow I've got about 40 miles left to get to Cascade Locks, which is the Oregon-Washington border. That's a milestone. So I'd say I want to knock out as much as I can today. And then tomorrow, I don't know if I'll take a full day off the day after, like a 0, or just like a half day, but for sure doing a half day. Just body needs to recover at the very least, if not mentally and other recovery. Elevation, terrain-wise, today should be a tougher day. I think I looked over about a 30-mile stretch from where I camped. Elevation gain or ascent was, I want to say, like 6,500 feet or more. It had a 6 on it, but it was high. And then the descent also had a 6 on it, but it was lower. So let's just call it 6,500 in ascent and 6,000 in descent. That's a lot. And I'm just a little exhausted from the compounding, just no breaks over 2 weeks. So if I can pound this out or something close to that, it leaves me in a good place tomorrow to get into Cascade Locks. And I have to make a list. I got real stuff to do today. So I need to figure out, I want to make a list of like all my gear that is having issues with. The time I took to try to fix my ever new water bladder, the clean one, where the water that is filtered goes into, it ripped right away this morning when I took the time to try to fix it yesterday with the glue. So stuff like that. I need to get a list together as I prepare. I mean, as I was running the math, like I still have, so yesterday I said how I was looking at the bandana with the map on it, and it's the ends in sight in a way, but it's still so far. Like, definitely felt that. But then also last night, as it's light rain and dark and cold, and I'm getting into my tent, the realization falls upon me that I still have 500 very challenging miles coming up, which is so much to finish this. I need to pray I stay healthy and uninjured or anything debilitating. And on that aside, the challenge it's going to take to still finish this. So that was weighing on me. But the number of days that actually would translate to, because of the basically changing seasons and having to avoid winter hitting the North Cascades, targeting an October 1st, but maybe push a few days out. I mean, I'm only looking at 23 days to the end of September. So if I give myself a few days into October, like call it 25 days left. I mean, doing a marathon a day is just grueling. I'm starting to feel that. I've been feeling that. And it's basically, I'm averaging at least that over the last 15 days. But yeah, I mean, 20, in terms of number of days, like that's a fairly small number relative to the big picture here, given it's day 129. So I have my work cut out for me, but I have to make a list of all the stuff I need to do to like make this final push into Washington. Like I don't think there's many towns on trail along the way that are gonna have or stops really. So I'd have to really go out of my way, I think, in Washington to get somewhere where I could get some certain things in gear. And so I'm looking at Cascade Locks as sort of my final staging area before trying to make the final push to finish this adventure. So I have to make a list of all those things. So I'm gonna try to do that today, like maybe at lunch breaks and stuff, but it's just, there's always so much going on when you're out here, like to do and manage, whether it's filtering water, like it's not that easy to multitask. I could be doing it while I'm walking, but it just increases the incident rate of tripping and getting hurt. So, but anyways, I gotta make my list of all I want to do, and then I need to figure out what town is best suited for everything that I need. So Cascade Locks is right on trail, I believe, but I know it's a lot smaller than, I forgot, I need to look it up. There's another town to the west that's bigger, and then Portland, to the east that's bigger, and then Portland's to the west. I don't want to go all the way to Portland, but the town to the east, it's like a one-word town name and like 4 letters, I think. It's a very simple name. I can't remember what it is though right now. I'll look it up later. But yeah, I need to figure out which town I'm gonna even go to, and then try to find a place to stay. I need to find a place with good Wi-Fi so I can upload videos. I'm like 10 days backed up now. So I have a lot to figure out, on top of the fact that it's gonna be a very challenging day. Elevation-wise and potentially weather-wise again. So as always, we will see how it unfolds. I'll see you down trail. Thanks for following along on this journey. It certainly has been an adventure, to say the least. Okay, the town east of Cascade Locks that I had in mind is called Hood River. So 2 words, but I was thinking of Hood. Hood River, Portland to the west. Hopefully Cascade Locks has what I need, so I have to worry about going all around logistically. I think it should. I'd imagine, just given this proximity to the PCT and the size of the town, that there would be a gear store. So I will look into that later. My sleeping bag is the wettest it's been this entire hike. Not in good shape. Even when I was sleeping, I'd wake up and I could feel all the down was just like flattened because it was wet. And like, yeah, it's not a good great situation. So I really hope the sun comes out for a while today so I can dry that out. So there's an alternate trail that I think I'll be hitting today that I plan to take to go through Tunnel Falls. So this is on the way coming into Cascade Locks. It is shorter than the PCT. However, it is much steeper. There's actually people who say it's so steep they don't recommend doing it, per the comments in Far Out. I think that's kind of an extreme, a little alarmist approach, because I know most people on the PCT do this because it's so cool and beautiful. So it's an alternate. In my assessment, it's kind of a wash in terms of the challenge, and my rule is I won't take anything that's easier. So I think tie goes to the runner or the hiker, if you will. So I would really like to see Tunnel Falls. It's really beautiful, or it looks really beautiful. I've seen it on some documentaries I watched before here. Pretty renowned alternate trail. So that's my plan, to take that. That's in like 20 miles, I think, from where I'm at now. So I will probably start down that path today. Yeah, I'm gonna go down just a little bit more here, and then I've got a pretty big climb coming up. It looks like 1,500 feet over 2.5 miles, which is a lot. So my plantar fasciitis is doing okay so far, which is good. I tried to really take care of them yesterday. Like last night, I spent a while massaging, which is so painful, but I think it's what's good for it. And then I put on a topical that I got from a acupuncture place in Ashland, and that's good. So, I mean, I'm just kind of sore in general, but at the moment, body's holding up okay. All right, I didn't want to make this call too early. It's like when you get the precincts reporting on election night. But I think I'm making the call that most Sobos, thru-hiking Sobos, have kind of passed at this point. There have not been too many the last few days. I'm sure there will still be a few more, undoubtedly. But I know the core of that bubble was probably a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, somewhere in the 1 to 2 week range. And I mean, if they're actually trying to do it, like they say, just like how the general proxy for Nobo's finishing because of the winter in the Cascades at Canada was October 1st, Sobo's getting through the Sierras is October 15th is the proxy for that. And I've been, a lot of my time, my days elapsed here was kind of taken up earlier in the desert as I was sort of getting trail legs and just getting situated to the process of everything. I've been going at a decent pace, I'd say, since the Sierras. And I did the Sierras, I left Bishop on day 63. And it's now day 129. And I think I had a week before Bishop in the Sierras. So let's add like 6 or 7 days to it. So, 129 minus 63 is about 65, 66, and then adding like 6 more. Let's just call it 70 days. That's over 2 months. And October 15th is like 5 weeks away. So, like, if I passed a Sobo right now, the odds of them actually getting through the Sierras in 5 weeks is just, I mean, they'd have to be doing, I'd have to run the math, but crazy, call it 40-mile days, no rest, and like some of that terrain's just so hard in the Sierras, as you know. So I think that's pretty much past. There will be a few more here and there, but I'm pretty sure most of the Sobos are now behind me. The ones that are still going, I heard a lot quit from that guy who got married on the AT. Said a lot quit during a section in Washington where there's tons of blowdowns and they're getting injured and just didn't want to do it. So I don't know, that's just a grapevine. But yeah, so I don't think I'll be passing too many more of those. I have now passed a handful of Nobos, especially at the lodge yesterday. It's another 4 or 5 that I've gotten ahead of now. So just because of this output I've been doing, I'm not really the last Nobo anymore, but mentally I still am. But I do know, like Lila, I don't think she's really skipped anything, which I respect. And I think this guy Jaws I was talking to as well, he's the one guy I've been on trail who's still going, who's had like an entire litany of injuries just like I have. Like he said, basically, he's like, if you name it, I've had it except for knee problems. And then like I kind of feel the same way. So I don't think I don't know actually if he has or not. But anyways, I don't think I'm in that sense the last Nobo anymore. But I'm still going to kind of call myself that just because it's fun and kind of speaks more to the mentality of how I'm approaching all this. But yeah, I think it's going to be a little quieter from cross traffic, and then we'll see. Maybe I'll be hitting more Nobos or as I keep going, or maybe not. Maybe I'll start getting past because I'm slowing down a bit. Never know. But it'll be interesting when I get to Cascade Locks to see like the trail register and all that. Another river crossing. Wow, look at the length of this tree. This right here is part of that same tree that's fallen and going across the river. Oh, I could walk across the tree. That looks like a good feasible path. I don't see a rock stepping stone way to get across, so yeah, definitely the tree. I don't feel like getting wet or taking my shoes off at all. All right, I'm not going to be able to film this. I'll catch you on the other side later on. Actually, this one's not too bad. I think if I'm careful, I can film it. It's kind of a wider tree. Usually, they are a little thinner and harder to get across. Ta-da! The climb has begun. I don't know if you can tell how steep this is, but it's steep. Foggy forest. As expected, this is quite a climb. 500 plus feet a mile for 2.5 miles. I'm pretty exhausted, but I've been trying to not stop. I'm just under a mile into this intense climb, drenched in sweat and ready to drink 3/4 of my liter. So I stopped to fill up, but look how beautiful this valley is. Great flow, by the way. Stop, drop, kaboom, baby. Rub on your nipples. I just got to the top. I'm pretty exhausted. I just crushed that, though. I'm drenched in sweat, but I feel good that I pushed through. There's going to be a dip and then a little bit more of a climb, but this is basically the top. I just want to show it because the Timberline Trail continues that way, but the PCT cuts this way. So I believe this is where we're jumping off, paralleling the Timberline Trail, which is the trail that runs 41 miles around Mount Hood. Oh, it's starting to feel a little uncomfortable because I am so wet from the sweat. And now that I'm not doing that intense climb, it's pretty cool out. It's really a tough combo when you gotta, and there's a little light breeze. It just makes me quite cool at my core. it's not a pleasant feeling. And I don't really know much to do about it. Like, I could put on my fleece. It's breathable. Sweat would come through. But, like, it doesn't really do that much. It kind of feels almost gross when I'm so wet to put something on top of it. I think I just have to suck it up. Embrace the suck and deal with it. Just to paint the picture, I have like chills running up my whole upper body right now. Not like crazy cold. Like, I'm not worried about my core temperature dropping dangerously or anything, but like, that is quite a turnaround from grinding up 500 plus foot per mile incline, drenched in sweat, to like, boom, it's cold and light wind and you're really soaked. Man, my right calf has been bugging me for like almost 2 weeks now. I remember mentioning it as an example of stuff that I don't point out, like the second day out of Ashland, which had been like 12 days ago or something. It still hasn't gotten better. It's like, I'm not too worried about it because I can walk through it's not super strong pain. It's like a tightness. It's a discomfort more than a pain, but it's like, I'm able to move, so I haven't worried about it too much. But it's been like this for 2 weeks now. I don't know if it's like a knot or I pulled it or what, but like, I feel it in almost every step most of the time, but it's so minor. It's like, I wasn't thinking too much about it, but I just kind of realized how long it's been lingering. So maybe I'll have to try to like massage it out or something when I get to Cascade Locks. Kind of cool to see where the power lines, it's like almost like you have a head full of hair and you just take the buzz trimmer and shave right down the middle as you're giving a haircut or something. So about a mile, probably a quarter mile, half mile back at the last water source, which I did not fill up on because I still have enough to get to the next one, I ran into, there's a guy taking a break on the side. I was like, oh, you look familiar. And I realized it was Skillet, the dude who was making burgers a couple days ago on trail, and him and his friends, the other ones that I was with or met, skipped ahead, but they actually got a ride even before Olaley, which is where they were planning to skip, so they were able to skip the whole burn zone leading up to Olaley, plus they skipped ahead to Timberline Lodge. So Olaley to Timberline, I think, was 50 miles, and then maybe like, I don't know, I'm estimating here, but 10 or so before then. So let's just say hypothetically they skipped like 60 miles roughly, and I caught back up to at least one in their crew. So he was saying it's a pretty good pace you must be doing, man. And like that, if I'm seeing them again, and they've been kind of doing the skip ahead here and there thing, so it feels good in that sense that I'm definitely probably closing a gap a little bit with the bubble. That's kind of what he was saying. He thinks it's probably happening too with the pace they're going, and I'm kind of going in my own way. So like, I don't really want to be in the bubble, but from a psychological standpoint of being able to get to Washington and finish is just good data point. Well, I just passed and met 2 new people. They're Noble hikers. Hadn't met them before. I am definitely not the last Noble anymore, but I think it's more mentality in a way too than actual like count or order. But anyways, one of them was named Mule, and I'm like, yo, there's actually another Mule on trail, thinking maybe she didn't know, because I met this guy in Bishop where I had to take 12 days off for sciatic nerve rehab, and they're like, yeah, he's like a couple hours ahead on trail. Like, what? It's wild. You never know who's gonna pop up at this point after being out here for well over 100 days. Some people could have met early on, you don't see for months, and they're just there. Like that guy, that was so long ago, I thought for sure he'd be way, way ahead if or not going anymore. So it's pretty cool to think could be running into some old friends soon. It's 11:30. I'm just over 12 miles in. I'm at a water source, but I got to go a little bit off trail down that way. I was just showing you the sign to get it, so I'm going to assess what to do because I think it's a pretty long, water carry from here. I haven't taken any breaks yet, so I think I'll take at least like a 20-minute break, rest my feet, or I push like 3 more miles and do a dry camp lunch or dry lunch. Well, the timing worked out pretty good. I'm down on the side trail by the spring, which is right in there. And the sun came out, and there's an angle here and space. So I'm going to probably take a little longer here than I was planning because I got my sleeping bag tent and my things I'm using as towels to dry out. So I was just looking again to confirm I'm not making my hike easier on myself, and the junction at which point I can take the side trail for Eagle Creek, where I'll go through Tunnel Falls, which is a waterfall you actually get to walk underneath. The description far out in all caps says, if you have a fear of heights or drop-offs, do not go on this trail. So it's definitely going to be more challenging in that regard. So that's why I'm okay with it, and I really want to go see Tunnel Falls. I think it would be more interesting than the other route. It says it's also in the description one of the most popular alternative routes on trails. So a lot of people do it, but it's not for the faint of heart with heights and steepness and all that. So that's about 9 miles away from here, which is pretty great. And I'm looking at that now because I have to be mapping out my water sources and everything for there. Okay, reading the comments. There's actually, I'm drying out my rain jacket over there. There is actually a third option, which is very rare, but it says you can have it all if you're somebody who doesn't want to like skip miles or anything. And while it is quite a challenging, really steep couple miles, like on the side trail, I think would basically make it just as hard or about the same as the regular PCT. You can actually keep going on the regular PCT, and there's a trail called Eagle Creek Trail, and then cut over and then take the side trail through Tunnel Falls and not actually skip any. It'll end up being the same mileage basically as just stay on the PCT, and then you can see the falls. So I think just being how I am, that's what I'm gonna end up doing. Some friends have joined at the watering hole. Nice to see some traffic again on trail. Well, I relinked with Skillet and made new friends Happy Feet and Mule. But check this out. I was just saying how it's a pain to have to like incorporate time to dry things, and you got to find the right space for it that has access to the sun, which has been kind of rare in this stretch. And the sun has to be out, right? So like we're always taking advantage of it. It really is. All right, just got back on trail from that side trail, which was a little tougher coming up with the pack weight, but still very short. It is 12:50, so I was supposed to be a 15 to 20 minute quick break turned into almost an hour and 20 minute break, which is okay, but I needed to dry my stuff out. Had the window to do it, so I think I'll have to take a super quick lunch, swap that around later, but that was the right move. You can still see where break was down there. That was good. Got some water from the spring. Just massaged my feet, specifically trying to focus on plantar fascia, and then my right calf gravity filtered, and had a few snacks, and then also a few people that I met earlier and one that I knew from a few days ago showed up, so we were talking. So it was a good rest session and socializing session, but really I had all my stuff spread out to dry. My sleeping bag is mostly dry, but there's spots in it that are still wet, Same with my tent, mostly dry. So if I'm unable, to dry it more, like let's say the weather turns and like my next long break, which would be, I don't know if there will be a next long break, but like a lunch break or whatever, I can't dry it out, I'm okay with how they are now. Still a little damp here and there, but night and day from how they were. So all in all, it was a good break, but now I went from feeling like I had a decent start on the day, even though I didn't start hiking until like 7, to feeling a little behind again, but that's okay. So I've got, it's like 8 or 9 miles to get to this junction where almost everybody takes, and I was planning to take, and it's very steep, but however, it cuts off like 4.8 miles of the PCT, and I thought because of how steep it is for a few miles, it's about a wash, but I found an alternate route where I will go about 11.8 miles from where I just left to a lake and tent site. See, I'm told that the cats, I think that's mountain lion poo, do it right on trail to mark their territory. Very intentional. So I will go the 11.8 miles, and then from there I will take a side trail, the Eagle Creek Trail, which will then link me to the Blue Blazer, the trail that most people take. And I'll still get to see the waterfall at Tonal Falls, but it will end up being basically the same mileage as the PCT. So I'm not cutting any miles, still getting to see the waterfall. And so I think for my principles, that's the best option, which is rare to have something you can kind of do it all. So that's what I'll be doing. So basically I've got 11.8 miles to go to kind of my next checkpoint. I am so tired right now. I feel like a zombie walking. I have felt that way all day. I think it's just fatigue from this would be day 15 since I left Ashland, of just pushing it to the full limit. Full send 15 days in a row, just taking its toll for sure. It was like, I didn't say it earlier, but I had thought it to myself. It was just like an extra level of just heaviness in terms of being so tired as I was walking. But it just hit another level this past mile, basically since I left that water source where I rested for over an hour. I don't know if it's because I had 3 pastries. I had 3 snack bars / pastries while I was there. And I chugged a whole, about a liter of water and got some electrolytes or what. But I'm actually feel like I could fall asleep within 60 seconds if I just laid on the ground right here. And I really mean that. Like, I'm struggling to keep my eyes open and focused enough so I don't trip. Just so exhausted right now. Some kind of lake there. Couldn't find the name. Wasn't worth more than 20 seconds of effort. But it's like, I haven't seen sightings like that in a good while, actually. So, kind of nice to see. I just ran into Luke, who is one of the brothers I met on coming out of Yosemite. I can't believe I saw his brother's name in the trail log, and I texted him, like, dude, I guess they hiked with a friend for like a week and a half at 15 miles a day. So somehow I was able to catch up. He was on the phone with his mom. So we said hi, and we're gonna talk up here. But wow, that's exciting. You guys will recognize them immediately when they're in the vlog. That was really fun to see him. I gave a hug, definitely gotten closer to those guys. But, there's a handful of people I've gotten closer to than others on here, and there's definitely 2 of them. So pretty exciting. Like I said, I was a little tipped off though. I kind of forgot, but when I was at that youth camp, I saw that his brother had picked up a package like a day before I got there. And I texted him, like, how is this possible with the time I took off in Ashland? And I told you why already, so that's exciting. There was something making loud noises in there. I thought maybe a tree fell, but then I heard it twice. But I've been standing here for a while now. I'm about to keep moving. Some clouds again and fog. Glad I dried my stuff off when I did. All right. There, did you hear that? What the heck is that? Oh, I think it might be like a squirrel up top throwing pine cones down, and just the height of the trees, the gravity, the force that they're hitting is making a loud noise. All right. It's a lot louder than the other ones I've heard before. Espresso! What's up? Look who it is!
I'm back, bitches!
Yeah! At Espresso, some of my favorite peeps on trail. So fun. I cannot believe I caught back up to them, but it's only because they went really slow for a while because they had a friend visiting. So I'm lucky for that friend visiting. But anyways, they're doing a similar pace I am now, so it'll be good to have some homies on trail. Okay.
Yeah.
Mount Hood. Just had a view and then the clouds came in, but there's a better view of Mount Hood. Now those clouds have passed. Just cruising. Got 18.3 miles done so far in the day. And I've been hiking with, I was going to say Hannah, but Espresso/Random. She's having an identity crisis right now with her trail name. So we're getting to the next water source. Luke hung back because he was very thirsty, but it was coming out super, super slow. Speaking of, I should update the comment in far out because I'm a good far out citizen. But what a beautiful view. Actually, that's the money shot right there. But nice view for a little moment. Yeah, I've read people doing that. Man, a bunch of rocks all of a sudden, but we're finally having some nice views out of the forest. I mean, I love being in the forest, but Indian Mountain. All right, I am 21 miles in for the day. It's 4 p.m. and I'm going to continue down the PCT. This is where a lot of people would break and go to this Blue Blaze, as they call it, but a side trail where you can basically go see this tunnel falls, and it also ends up being 5 miles shorter, 4.8 to be exact, than the PCT. So I'm going to go down the PCT and then cut over on a different trail, which will net basically I'm not skipping any miles. So I'm not voluntarily, I'm doing what I set out to do. It's like the PCT, but I will still get to see the tunnel falls. So I got my work cut out for me, but I haven't even had lunch yet because of that odd break I took, which was vital to draw out my stuff. So I'm going to do that now and see y'all in a bit. I hope you got that moan groan on video there, because yeah, that's exactly the noise I just made. Basically, I was saying it's such a godsend to have this bench. There's like, it's so rare to actually have something to sit on this trail. Like, so rare. This is awesome. All right, just finished up a little over an hour break there. Hannah and Luke eventually came and caught up with us. Went down the Indian Springs trailhead, which is the shortest way to get to Cascade Locks, and also goes through the Tunnel Falls. It is very, very steep though. It's like 3,500 or 4,000, in between 3,500 and 4,000 descent over 2 miles. So very steep. But I, just for my peace of mind, am going to continue down the PCT another 3 or 4 miles and then cut over and link with that trail. So then I'm not really, it nets out for me not skipping any miles. Although I think you could argue that trail with the steepness, but it's really just downhill one way. So this takes any of the judgment call out of it as to whether I'm making my life easier or not, which is my barometer for whether I can do side quests. But I really want to see Tunnel Falls. So today's been a weird day because I had to drop my stuff earlier. I just dried out my sleeping bag again, and I was able to catch a little bit of sun. So I think it's mostly dry now, which is good. Be able to sleep good tonight. And also of note, first day in a handful of days it hasn't been cloudy and rainy right now. So this is when the storms really have been kind of rolling in. So that's a good change of pace in that sense. I'll probably camp a little bit just before the tunnel falls today, because I got to first do these 3 miles in the PCT. Then I got to take a Eagle Creek side trail, which will then link me to where they're going, which I believe their trail actually links with the Eagle Creek trail I'll be on. So I'll continue on mine. But I think that'll put me about 8 or 9 more miles, which should be just under 30 for the day, which is fine, because I want to see Tunnel Falls. And by the time I get there tonight, it's going to be dark. Obsidian Falls was cool at night, but this is like, you actually get to walk under this, so I think it'll be cool. So let's wait till the morning, is the plan. So it was a good break. I had like a hot meal, because when I did my resupplies, how it's spaced out for this last box, I had like an extra Nor rice side, so I actually shipped it as one of my intended lunches. So it was good, but good catching up with them. And now I'm going my own way here. I'm sure I'll see them in the coming days on trail. Some great views of Mount Hood here. The majority of PCT hikers, from my understanding, take that Blue Blaze, as they call it, but that side trail that I just showed where my friends went. But this part has some very nice last views of Mount Hood. I'm still partial to Mount Shasta, but there's been some very nice mountains here in Oregon for sure. Mount Jefferson, Mount Thielsen was very awesome. And Mount Hood, of course, is epic. There are so many people there, not even hiking yesterday at the lodge, just wanted to see Mount Hood. And I was walking, leaving the lodge, and some of the clouds were starting to kind of move away from the peak, and some people that were walking by, the gasps and remarks they make, they're like, wow, because like then I could start to see the peak of the mountain. I guess I've kind of taken it for granted a little bit, seeing all these as I've been walking, but it speaks to how majestic Mount Hood is. And I'm sure I had a similar reaction when I was there as a kid for the first time. It's pretty epic. Nice to see it without a bunch of clouds too, because it's been covered a lot the last few days. I mean, yesterday I was basically walking around the base of it with the clouds everywhere. Now I'm here. Rocks, my favorite. Ugh. So yesterday I said glaciers, or probably glaciers. I talked to one of the employees while I was waiting for my box to get picked up, or I sent a package there, and the employee who went and got the package for me was also running the gift shop, so I had to wait till there's nobody in the gift shop. And so we were chatting, and she said there were glaciers there in Mount Hood a while ago, but there's not any natural ones anymore, but they basically like make it for skiing, so they call them snowfields, I believe is what she called them, basically man-made glaciers. I think I need to adjust and expect or be prepared to start seeing people on trail again here. And obviously I say that in kind of a general term, because there have been people, but it's been pretty sparse, which has been nice. I've really liked it overall. But it's been also really nice seeing old friends here. But like, I definitely haven't socialized as much as I did today in a long time on trail. And it's not always voluntary. Like, I'm not saying I didn't want to at all, but like, I get to the water hole, I set up all my gear to dry out, and then 3 more people show up that I know, and you just kind of like, now you're in conversation the whole time, right? Like, which was nice. I'm not complaining, but it is just noticeably exhausting because I haven't been doing that for quite a while here, at least since I left Ashland. I mean, I've met people here and there, but like, not used to seeing people like I have today. So it's just a change. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just gonna take a little adjusting. Just entered the Marco Hatfield Wilderness. Well, I can tell not many people come this way relative to all the miles leading up to it, given by the number of spider webs I've already walked into. So I walked like 5.5 miles with Hannah to where I took that break, and we had some good conversation and said basically how there's great moments out here, like meet some cool people, go to some nice cool towns, see some beautiful sights, but I'm not having fun. Like I tell people all the time, I got my fill like 1,600 miles ago of through hiking. I think I'm more a destination hiker. I'd rather like hike to a place, take it in for a few days, and then hike out and go home, or get picked up there like a short through hike. But this is like so time sensitive, pressure, deadline, so you get miles and miles. But anyways, I said how in general, I'm not having that much fun out here. And then she said, and we kept talking for a while, but then she's like, are you happy out here? That was a really good, interesting question, because I told her how I came out here not to have fun, though. I came out here for the challenge and everything that entails being out here. And I've gotten more than I got more than I was wanting with the injuries and the challenges those have presented. But I think there's been some growth, hopefully, through all that and that experience too. But I'm gonna flip the camera because my arm's starting to hurt. But she said, are you happy out here? And I said, that's a great question. And I reflected. I couldn't really answer one way or the other, but what I did say is, I'm not unhappy. Like, I definitely am not unhappy out here. I said I get very frustrated, mostly driven by the injuries. I wouldn't say I'm having fun, but you know, I'm not unhappy. Like, you wake up with purpose, and you just kind of know, and it feels good to be physically active at this level. And the last two things I didn't actually say to her, but I'm thinking out loud now. But how I did answer when she said, are you happy? I said, I'm not unhappy, but what I said is, I don't regret coming out here for a minute. And I never have, I've never purported to, and what I just said, I've said in videos weeks and months ago. Despite the fact that I'm not having that much fun out here, I don't regret coming out here at all, because this is, by and large, exactly what I signed up for. Was a big challenge, and to be in nature and to kind of have the discipline to do this day in and day out. So I just wanted to share that, because yeah, it is. I find a lot of things very frustrating that I'm dealing with out here, and it's been a lot of adversity. But I don't regret being out here one bit. Like, yes, the opportunity costs money and time. Could be lying at a beach somewhere. Like, you definitely think about that sometimes, especially in the hardest moments. But I don't regret being out here. And happy is an interesting question, but really, I'm being challenged, and that's what I wanted to come out here for. So I'm exhausted, and I am kind of looking forward to being done with it, but I think it's type 2 fun. I'm sure shortly after I'm done with it, I'm gonna be like, wow, that was awesome. I want to go back and do something like it again. I'm not saying I don't feel that way while I'm doing this. There are definitely moments and times, but it is so, like, the reason I just shared all this with you is because I was sitting here thinking how exhausted I am and how much I'm looking forward to, whether it's a half day or a full day and a half day. I'm going to take in Cascade Locks or Hood River if Cascade Locks does not have a gear store. And I've just really cranked into high gear these last 15 days. And I was before my Ashland rehab as well. So, like, I'm just so tired, and I'm looking forward to, like, a good day of rest. And that's kind of what led to me to remember that conversation I just had and wanted to share it with y'all. So this is Wattam Lake. I just got off. That is PCT there, and this is where now I'm going to take the side trail, Eagle Creek. That will take me all the way to Tunnel Falls. But I might take a quick peek at the lake first. Beautiful lake, last lake of Oregon, and glad I came here to see it. Yeah, look at that. Very blue, greenish water. So the only thing is, taking this trail, aside from quick little attempted research I was able to do in far out because I don't have service, I'm kind of flying blind. Like, obviously I know where I'm going, and I have maps and everything, but I mean, I don't know where water sources are or any of that kind of stuff, which is fine. I don't think this should be super long. Probably only 3 to 4 miles would be my guess to link up with the trail that everyone else took. So, no shortcuts here. I didn't know there's more there though. Shortcut to northbound PCT. Oh my gosh, my plantar fasciitis is so bad. Okay, so Eagle Creek Trail this way. And I don't have the maps and routes and all that, so I will have to be on my A game right now, navigation wise, and I'm gonna have like 3/4 a liter of water. I'm just gonna preserve as much as I can. I do believe there's one water source on this Eagle Creek Trail before I link up towards the trail that leads to Tunnel Falls, which I think is this trail. I'm referring linking up to the one that my friends just left on that most PCT hikers go on. It's a lot more calming hitting this time of day when it's not like raining and dark and cloudy and ensuing weather. So that's a nice positive. So I'm on the Eagle Creek Trail. I'm kind of flying blind. I don't have service, so I can't really use Google Maps. Far out, the app we use here doesn't have any trailer map for this. I do have my Garmin watch as a backup, but I don't really think I need to do too much navigating as long as I'm paying close attention to the signs and just a general idea that I know I'm heading west. I have my compass built into my watch, so I feel pretty okay about all that. But this is the Eagle Creek Trail, not on the PCT. As already discussed, this is me taking an alternate to get to the alternate that most people take. And the reason I took this one is so I don't end up doing any less miles than if I just did the regular PCT. Even though one could argue doing the alternate is as hard as the regular PCT, but the more I learned about it, it was very, very steep, but that's all downhill. You don't end up coming back up in the alternate, unlike other ones where I have not skipped. And the alternate, you basically save thousands of elevation in feet. This elevation essentially nets out. So then you're just talking the steepness. So I think I made the right call to stand by my principles here. Feels a little silly at times, like walking these, what is it going to be, like 5 extra miles or whatever out of the way, just because it's just so I know I can say I didn't cut any corners. But also I'm getting to see new things. Like I just saw a beautiful lake and talked to a couple, I think they were both British, or at least the lady I was talking to was older couple that had just hiked the trail I'm on now to get to that lake, and they're setting up. Asked if I had a few questions about the PCT and getting to see this nice forest when the sun's starting to go down. So it's just part of the journey. Just to be very clear, I know I just recently filmed said PCT northbound shortcut. I definitely did not take that. That's basically the route I'm going due west. The trail kind of went around the lake, sort of like east and then kind of west, and then it kept going north. So I believe that shortcut basically would just take you kind of like west around the lake and then north. I'm going like straight west to hit this other totally different place to get to the Tunnel Falls. So, but I was just thinking through that. There can't be too many people that actually do the red line, the PCT this whole way, because most do Tunnel Falls through the first Indian Springs trailhead where my friends earlier went. And then the purists, like myself, or I call myself a pragmatic purist, who don't want to skip miles but still want to see Tunnel Falls, would do what I'm doing. So really, you'd only have the extreme purists who have to step every foot on the PCT. Like, I don't feel like this is cheating remotely, because I'm doing as much work, if not more, probably more than I would be if I was just on the PCT. But I'm gonna go walk through it underneath the waterfall. That would be cool. That's interesting. You see a lot of these valleys with rocks all the time, but not ones with moss all over it. Here's another big moss rock field. Ugh. Man, there's been a decent amount of walking on rocks today too, and my feet are just hurting. But nothing too crazy. I mean, it's definitely high level of pain. but it's nothing debilitating for the most part. Sometimes there's little waves of pain that run through the plantar fascia, but for the most part, it's just really sore and I get little aches here and there. I just filled up from this creek. I tried from one down there, but it was too thin. I was like, it's not worth it, but I was able to get some quickly from here. Just carrying an extra liter because I don't know exactly how far I have to go, and I also don't know when there will be more water sources, so just smart, you carry the extra weight. But what I was doing that, there was the craziest looking bug in the water. It was almost like in the centipede roly-poly type family, but like creeping around in the water. You blended right in with the twigs. You wouldn't see it otherwise. It was probably about an inch long, maybe half an inch wide, and it's under one of those rocks right now. I don't want to disturb it, but man, that thing was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. Sunset is in less than an hour, about 50 minutes till sunset. I have about 25 miles done for the day. My watch says 24.6, but I forgot to start it a few times. So it's probably about 25 right now. And yeah, this is, I'm gonna end up night hiking on a trail, a side trail that's getting me to another side trail. At least the second side trail is mapped on my app, which has offline maps, but this one is not. Not worried about it, but it is definitely a different dynamic than normal when I'm hiking at night on the PCT. Well, if I knew about this, I wouldn't have had to struggle filling up water, but that's okay. That is coming down. It's nice, good flow. Well, there's been so much water so far in the side trail, I didn't even really need to carry any. I could have just drank at the sources. Maybe I should have been tipped off with the name Eagle Creek, but obviously there's plenty of trails that might have a creek in the name that might not run by the creek till who knows when. So I did the right prudent thing. I ended up carrying 2.5 liters of pounds of water for no reason, essentially, but it was the right move with the information at hand. So green, the forest floor, and then up. I just realized something. I think long ago, maybe coming out of Syed Valley, I said someone had written "Thank you, trail crews" on a log in the way, and I assumed that they were just like probably being sarcastic and because they were frustrated. Because a lot of the people I had just talked to that day were very frustrated about the blowdown situation, and I was mildly annoyed by it, but I think they're actually probably being genuine. I mean, I have no idea, but I think because I just was reading comments that there were tons of blowdowns in the section, but they've been cleared. So I think they actually just maybe meant to have a note there, so when the trail crew does get there, they know their work's appreciated. Anyways, I'm still on this Eagle Creek side trail. I just got into a big burn zone. As you can see. Based on my estimate, I probably have like 1.5 miles left to get to relink with the quote-unquote Blue Blaze, which would be the trail that people left at Indian Springs, where I had the lunch break, the late lunch break. So basically, I'm making progress, but my feet hurt. I am sore, hanging in there. My left foot, the stress fracture feeling was doing pretty good. Thought I had a third good day here because of the terrain, but there's just been so many rocks lately that it's starting to feel weird. But all in all, I think I'm really grateful. I am really grateful for the last 3 days. I think it hopefully is healing a little bit or hasn't gotten worse. It's definitely still something going on there. I would not want to be in here on a windy day, nor do I want to camp near any of this. So once I get linked back with this side quest trail, I'll see what the deal is. But yeah, a lot of blowdowns, a lot of very old burnt trees waiting to come down. I did it. I'm gonna sit for a minute because my feet are killing me. This is the perfect little bench. Okay. Oh my goodness. Actually, hold on, I'm gonna take my pack off. Oh, I am beat. So sunset is at 7:30 exactly today. So it is in less than 4 minutes. This is an important junction. So I was on the Eagle Creek Trail. Indian Springs Trail is the blue blaze that most people take on the PCT. So now basically I've relinked with that right here. And I'll keep going that way to the right. So basically where I had my late lunch and with my friend Hannah, and then Luke showed up too towards the end. That was 2 miles up this way, Indian Springs Trail. So I just went, let's see here, about six miles and some change, kind of out of the way to get here, as explained already, because I don't want to take anything that's easier. So now I am relinked here. So now this blue blaze is a call. It says side trail in the app. It's blue instead of red, meaning the main PCT, just how they color the trails. Will lead me down to Tunnel Falls, which I plan to see in the morning, because I do want to see it very much. I don't want to do it. It's going to be too late now and dark. So I will find somewhere to camp between here and there in the next few miles. But this is, I am so sore and tired. I'm going to sit here for a minute and then keep moving because it's going to get dark. But good to relink with this. Now I have map coverage, like trail coverage in the app, because this blue blaze is mapped out. So like with my app and the GPS locators, it's like I didn't have any of that. It's no big deal. I didn't have any of that for this Eagle Creek, so it's good to kind of be back plugged in that way. So I didn't have anything about water sources on this trail. I'm going to leave a comment for people so they know, but now I do, because of this the blue line on the far out. So I'm going to either camp 1.4 miles, there's a creek and some tent sites, or 2.4, and that'll set me up nicely to see Tunnel Falls or go through Tunnel Falls in the morning and then head into Cascade Locks. Boy, do I need that rest. Whoa, what a view to turn the corner around and see. I'm hurting. I mean, it's not a huge difference right now how many miles to do, because whatever I don't do tonight will just be a few more I have to do tomorrow, right? I'm going to get into Cascade Locks. I am 99.99% staying in town tomorrow night. The question is, do I take a whole day off after that? I really don't have time to spare, but I think it might be smart to do, just given how hard I've been pushing my body. Thankfully, it's holding up pretty well overall. So I think it's going to be a function of how bad my feet are throbbing and hurting, and the situation of these two sites with widowmakers, or these trees, whatever seems better. Thankfully it's not stormy tonight. It's been a couple nights in a row of that, if not more. I can't even remember at this point, but there's hail like 4 days ago, and then there's definitely rain the last 2 nights. Pretty sure my tent's had a bunch of condensation in it the last 4 nights or mornings I wake up. So anyways, this is nice weather. I have fresh batteries in my headlamp. Yes, I don't use the charging one. I can explain why later. But 2, I ate a pretty big late lunch not long ago, so I'm not that hungry. So I might be able to just kind of forego dinner and have some snacks. And at this point, I'm going to be hiking in the dark anyways for some duration. So it's like, if my body will hold up, might as well keep going some. I'm definitely not going to go beyond Tunnel Falls, though. That's the whole point of this. So I will camp somewhere before then. But I'm thinking maybe the second campsite I listed or mentioned earlier, if I can make it. But yeah, really looking forward to getting into town tomorrow. I haven't had time to look if there's like a proper gear store yet. Maybe I'll do that tonight. But if there is, I'll be staying in Cascade Locks. And if there's not, I will probably go to Hood River. The option is to go to Portland too. That just feels a little too far. There's more bug chatter here than I've heard maybe the whole trail. So Hannah just messaged me on the Garmin. She must have got my number from John Paul, Luke's brother, that they're camped at mile 4.6 of the Eagle Creek side trail here that we're on. All the campsites were full. before that. And so that where they're at now is before Tuttle Falls, which is great because I definitely want to see that tomorrow in the daylight. So I think I'll join them there. I'm not gonna say they're saving a spot for me, but this is why I'm flagging this is wild. This shows how I'm still ways behind, and I have like every hour counts. Well, that's a little dramatic, but every day counts here. But I've definitely caught up to enough people here where there's starting to be campsites full again. Like I don't know the last time I experienced that. So like I usually at night I'm lucky if I see another person camping. I've kind of decided these last few nights to ended up camping where there was someone else, but there's not many others out there. So that's I appreciate the heads up, but what's most interesting about it is the fact that I don't know the last time I've had to actually. Sorry, I heard some ruffling in the bushes. I think it's just a bird. I don't know the last time I had a full campsite like that. So I've got 2 miles to go, basically 1.8 to get to where they're at, and that now I know where I'm aiming for, so that helps. These bug sounds are crazy. Kind of reminds me of summer nights back in the Midwest, in the prairies and stuff. And there's just so much going on out here with bugs. Well, this is the first site I was planning to go to, and it does not look full, and I hear the water, but I actually think it'll be really fun to see John Paul. It's the third person of that crew that you'll recognize from other videos that I haven't seen yet today or seen since Mount Shasta, and I think it'll just be fun to camp with them tonight. So I'll keep going. I threw my fleece on when I stopped to take a sit for 2 minutes at that junction and swap out my batteries on my headlamp, etc. And I did that because I'm just so used to getting cool at night, but the reality is I'm below 2,000 feet in elevation now, so it is way hotter right now. I just haven't felt like stopping to take it off, but yeah, and by tomorrow at Cascade Locks I'll be down to like 300 some feet in elevation. Alright, just past this creek, I'm about 1/10 of a mile or less away from where I'm going to camp. And because some of them might be in bed already, I don't want to be too loud, but let's see here. I did 4,100 feet in elevation, 6,000 feet in descent, 30 miles, and I've been on my feet for over 11 hours, just over 11 hours. Pretty good day. I will catch you all tomorrow.